So number one, Andrea and Dancy had number one. So first thing I want you guys to do is read the problem and then explain it, and then I can write whatever needs to be written there. So who wants to go, Andrea or Nancy?
I'll read the question.
Okay, you can also share
Um,
your screen. I know that you also had uh,
okay, cool.
yeah, so let me stop sharing.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time with the iPad.
That's okay.
Hmm. Am I sharing or am I not?
We can't see it yet.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, I'll read it until I can get it to share.
That's okay. Then I'll share my screen, and
Okay,
because I want everybody to be able to kind of see the problem. So you can read it and then help me out with the problem.
okay. Um, in corn, the high sugar content, small s, is recessive to the allele for starchy, which is uppercase S. Give the phenotypes for the following individuals: SS, S little s, two small s's.
So what is the phenotype?
For SS, it's starchy,
So big S is starchy.
and then big S, small s is also starchy.
This is also starchy.
Um, small s is a sugar content, high sugar content.
High sugar content. Okay, number two. This is an important question. You might see something similar. Also, how it kind of hits on different points. It hits on the genotype, phenotype, gametes, and F1 generation. So this is important. It might also help you understand the quiz questions a little bit better. So Nancy or Andrea, who wants to go for number two?
Sorry, I actually just figured out how to do the screen thing. Would that be helpful?
Oh, the screen share? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So this is what I got for number two.
Okay, so go ahead and read the question and tell us how you set up the problem.
Okay. Big W is white, small w is black. A purebred white rabbit is crossed with a purebred black rabbit. What is the genotype of black rabbit? What are the possible gametes for white rabbit? What is the genotypic ratio frequency of the F1 generation from this cross? Um, so how I set it up is, so I just remembered these two first, and that it's purebred. So I knew that the purebred black rabbit and then the purebred white rabbit. So I knew they were homozygous, dominant and homozygous recessive from
Yeah,
that.
so one thing I want everybody to remember, just what Nancy just said, if it's purebred or true breeding plant, it's homozygous. So that's what it means. It's homozygous for whatever letter it is. Continue, Nancy.
Mhm. And then the genotype of the black rabbit, sorry, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. I knew was the homozygous recessive. So I knew these two are the answer for the, sorry, this one is the answer for the first question. The possible gametes for the white rabbit, I don't think I wrote that, but it would be, sorry, would it be W, W, and W small w?
No, no. So the possible gametes, when you have the genotype, you want to look at what are the different possibilities from those gametes that can go on the cross. The only possible, because your genotype for white rabbit is little big W, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only possibility from those genotype is big W. So the answer is big W.
Okay, just a big W. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So you're not putting both of them. You're just
Mm-hmm.
putting different possibilities. If there was a possibility of big W, little w, then you would say big W and little w. But if it's just the same thing, homozygous, then you just write it once.
Okay, and then well, I just crossed both of them, and then I ended up with all of them being 100% right here, and that's why it's 100% white because the dominant everything is in dominant, so everything's white. And then the genotype, everything was the same, so it's the same. This is the only genotype I got from it.
Yeah, so that is correct for genotype. It didn't ask for phenotype, but that would be the answer to phenotype. It asked for phenotype. It'd be 100%
Okay,
white. Okay, Nancy, so you can move on to the next one.
okay. In rabbits, short hair, uppercase H is dominant to long hair, which is small h. If a homozygous short-haired female is mated to a long-haired male, what are the phenotypes and genotypes of the F1 generation? And then I just wrote down the information that the question provided me.
So that's a
And
very good thing to do. Always write what the letters stand for. It's going to help you a lot.
mhm. And because it's a homozygous short-haired female, I know this is HH, so one of them is HH already. And then a long-haired male, that would only be possible if both of them had the recessive gene. So it's H, and then it's right here. And then I just crossed them, and all of them, just like the question before, all of them were 100%. The same with the genotype and the phenotype.
And then the whatever she got from this cross is the F1. Can you label it F1, Nancy? So the
Oh yeah.
whatever you got from there is F1 generation. It's your first generation. Yeah, that's F1.
Okay. And then I think that was the question, right?
Yeah, that was the question. The reason I had her label F1 because next question is referring to F1 from the previous question.
And then the next question, if the first generation F1 were mated with a male parent, back crossed in genetics, what are the phenotypes and genotypes of the F2 generation if mated to the female parent? Sorry, give me 1 second. The first generation was this one. This one's the first generation that they were referring to. So I knew this, these two are the result from the first one, and then they're asking us to put it with a male. Oh, sorry, I'll use another color. A male and a female.
So,
Parent.
Nancy, can you show them where you got the male and the female from?
Oh yes. Sorry, give me 1 second. It's from the first question. So there's sorry, they're from the first question right here, right?
Yes, yes. So
Okay,
if you go read the question, it says if
so
a
right
homozygous
here.
short hair female, that's where she got the genotypes for the female. And in the same question, it says a long hair male. So those are the parental generation. That's what you're mating with. So that's where she got those from.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I wasn't clear about that.
No, that's fine.
And then I crossed the male. I crossed all of them, and I got 50% dominant, 50% recessive. So for phenotype, I put 50% short hair and 50% long hair. And then these are the two genotypes that I got from it. They're the only possible genotypes that I got from it. And then I did the female parent, and I got 100% with the dominant gene. So all of them had short hair, even if there was two little H's. But For genotype, I have 50% of the HH right here, and then 50% of the H and then small h right here.
Any questions so far? Anybody have any questions for Nancy for 1 through 4? No? Okay. You can move on to the next one, Nancy, then.
And I think this was our last question for 5.
So go ahead and label the F2 in the previous question.
Oh, yes. It's going to be, sorry, this one. Are they both the F2? Because
Yes.
it's 2 separate. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then the next question is, if the F1 rabbits were allowed to mate with one another to generate an F2 generation, what are the phenotypes and genotypes of the F2 generation? So I got,
So show them where you got the F1 from again. So go back to
okay.
question 3, I think.
So this is the F1 right here, and then this is the F2. These are the F2. And
You don't need F2 in this because it's asking you to make F1 with F1
okay.
to get another F.
So because this is our F1 generation and all of them are exactly the same, I'm just going to cross between the same big H, little h, big H, little h. And then I just did the Punnett square on that. And then I got one big H, one big H, and then one little h, and then 2 big H, little h. And then that's how I got, sorry. And then that's how I got these ratios right here for the genotype, because these are all the possible genotypes from there. And then for the phenotype, because there's 3 of these with a dominant feature, I put 75 short hair and then 25% long hair.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. That was a really good presentation. Anybody have any questions? So you can stop sharing, Nancy. Oscar and Robert can do next ones. Oscar, Nancy, sorry, not Nancy, Robert, Frene, any questions? Did you guys understand what she explained? Yes, okay. So Oscar and Robert, you guys are next. So how you guys want to do this? You want to share your screen or you want me to share it?
I think we wrote all of our stuff out. I don't know if you want me to share like that or if you want him to share.
No, I can share the screen and then you can just help me out with it.
Okay.
So we're on number 6 here. So go ahead and read the question and we'll go from there.
All right. In humans, the trait for 6 fingers is dominant to 5 fingers. Well, sorry, big F, little f. So big finger, 6 fingers is big F. 5 fingers is little f. A male and a female both carry the characteristic for 6 fingers, but the fathers for both these individuals, the grandparents, only had 5 fingers. What are the phenotypes of the male and female parent? What are their genotypes? Alrighty, so we put that the phenotype was the 6 fingers. I believe that's what we went over with you. Oh, and I'm losing connection.
So that is correct. Why did I say it was 6 fingers?
I missed it. That was one of those things that you jumped in to help us and we're like,
okay, so that's fine. So the question says male and female both carry. So they carry the characteristic for 6 fingers. What is 6 fingers? It's big F. So if they have big F, which is dominant, they're going to have 6 fingers. So that's the phenotype.
Okay.
Then it says, but the fathers for both of these individuals had 5 fingers. And also because there's this word carry, that means they are not homozygous. They are probably heterozygous, especially their parents had 5 fingers. So it's asking for the genotype. So genotype for both of them is going to be big H, sorry, not H, it's F, where the letter we're working with. So it's gonna be big F and then little f for male, and same thing for female. Does that make sense, Frene and Nancy? Yeah. Number 7, Robert.
Okay. Suppose these individuals, from number 6, plan on having a child. What is the probability that the child will have 6 fingers? What is the probability they will have 5 fingers? Is this characteristic sex linked?
So you do a cross with these individuals. So you do big F, little f, big F, and little f.
And that is actually what I had written down.
Okay.
Got half right there.
So what is the probability that will have 5 fingers and the probability for 6 fingers? So
We
basically
had
this is asking the phenotype ratio.
phenotype ratio. So we had 75% for 6 fingers and 25% for 5 fingers.
So 75%. 6 fingers, or you could say 3-1, that also works.
3-1.
And then
Okay.
25%, 5 fingers. Okay, number 8. So go ahead and read number 8 and tell me what you want me to write there.
Yeah, let's see. In certain flowers, a cross between a homozygous red and homozygous white will always produce offspring with pink flowers. Diagram and explain this phenomenon. Oscar kind of nailed this one way better than I did, so I don't know if he wants to jump in and explain how he did it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go for it. So for this one, just drew the box. For red flowers, I just put big F on top. And then for white flowers, I put little f. And then their offspring, it produces, all of them are going to be big F, little f. And that's going to be pink flowers.
Okay, what is this phenomenon?
I'm pretty sure both me and Robert would agree it's incomplete dominance.
Incomplete dominance. That is correct. So what's going on here? So you could use any letter since the letters weren't given. I would use R, maybe R for red, and then little r for white, but that's fine too. Still, it's uppercase and lowercase, and then you cross these. So you already know if it's big R, it means red. Oh, sorry, I'm just gonna use these letters since we use those. So big F means red. Little f, it means white. And then you get big F and little f, which gives you pink. So this kind of tells you you're not each of the gene is getting fully expressed. So big F, since it's dominant but it's still not fully expressed, it's getting a mixture. It's getting a mixture of color. That's when I said when Greeks mix paint, red paint, blue paint, it's gonna give you purple paint. So that's what's happening here. So that's what's called incomplete dominance. So this is correct. Number 9, Oscar. And this is your F1.
Yeah, for so crossing F1 generation to produce F2. Again, I just did the square, the Punnett square, and
You cross F1 with F1.
yes, so I
And your
crossed.
F1 is big F, little f here, 100%. So you do big F, little f, big F, little f, and you do the Punnett square.
Yeah, and then for the phenotype, I put down 25% red, 50% pink, 25% white. And ratios 1-1.
50% pink, you said?
Yes, 50% pink and 25 white.
Okay, so that's 1-1 ratio. You have one big F, you know that means red. And then you have big F, little f, that means pink. That's twice, so that's 50%. And little f means white. That's the phenotype ratio. This is phenotype. What is the genotype, Oscar?
The genotype was 1-1.
So that's 1-1. So when you write 1 to 1, you can say 1 big F, and 2 big F little f, and then 1 little f, or you could do percentages, whatever works better for you. On the exam, it's multiple choice, so you don't really have to write it out in the percentage or the ratio. Okay, Frene, number 10. We're up.
Okay, so I wrote it out. In humans, A, B, O blood types are codominant. A and B are codominant. O is recessive. Use the codes IA, capital IB, and little I for type O. Subscripts are used when there are more than 2 alleles at a given locus. If a person with type AB blood marries someone with type O blood, what are the possible blood groups of their children? So I got,
So you're gonna say IA and IB for this person?
yeah, an IB, and then I crossed it with a little I,
Since
and then
that's
I
for
got,
type O.
yeah. And then I got big IA, little I, and then big IB, little I for my possibilities.
So what are the possibility? What percentage? Maybe give me a probability.
50%.
50% type A, and then 50% type B. Okay, so for the next question, any questions on that question? No. So for the next question, I already told you in the beginning, if it's type A blood, I want you to use big I, A, and little I. If it's type B blood, I want you to use this. Anytime this question mentions type A or type B. So first one asks if one parent has type A, other has type B, can they have a child with type O? So how did you
Yes.
set it up, Renee?
Yeah, yes, because they're carriers of the little I.
Okay, but did you do a Punnett square?
No. I
No,
just
okay.
knew.
So I'm just gonna do one. I'm just gonna do
Yeah.
one.
Sorry.
So you have type A person marrying a type B. This is B and little I. So you have AB. There's a possibility of AB. There's a possibility of just B. There's a possibility of just A. But if this person gets II, then they have 25%
Mhm.
possibility for type O. So that's your number one. Then you have next one. If one parent has type B, other has type O now, can they have a child with type A?
I wrote no because there's no type A gene to pass on.
Yeah, so you don't even need to do a Punnett square because it doesn't mention type A at all. And you cannot get type A from type B or type O. So you're gonna say no. So no, they cannot. Next one, if one parent says type AB, other has type B. So you're gonna have again A and then AB for type AB, you have IA, IB, and other one has type B. And so this is what you're gonna use again. And then you do the Punnett square. This is what you get. You get AB and then IB, IB, IA, little I, IB, little I. And then it says, can they have a child with type O?
I said no because it's going to be dominant.
Yeah, so if you look here, there's no little I, that's for type O. So no, they cannot. So you're gonna say no. If one parent says type A and the other has type B blood, same one. So you already did one. Type A, other one has type B blood. Can they have a child with AB?
Yes.
Yes. What percentage? What's the probability?
So if we're using the big IA little I and the big IB little I, it's 25%.
25%. Does this question make sense to everybody, Oscar and Robert and Nancy? Yes? Okay, so there's multiple questions in here. You just kind of have to get used to setting up the problem. And I told you guys to skip this one. If you're interested, you can, do this on your own. And if you get stuck, send me an email. I also have a video. I think I might post it later today. But I told you guys to skip this one. However, this question is a little bit, it's referring about X-linked. If you ever having hard time with X-linked disorders, then I would say go ahead and do this question. Set it up, and then it's gonna ask you the percentage in daughters, percentage in sons. When it says daughters or sons, that's the only boxes you're looking at. If it's 2 daughters, it's the chance to have a daughter is 50%, chance to have a son is 50%. It's saying what percentage of sons is colorblind. If both of the sons are colorblind, you're gonna say 100%. So you're not looking at the whole Punnett course. You gotta keep in mind if you're looking at daughters or sons for that question. And then did you do this one, number 14?
Yeah. Yeah, so there is a very large industry concerned with health pedigree and example breeding of horses, worth several billions annually worldwide. Often the rarest combinations are highly prized, such as thoroughbreds or show horses. In horses, the black coat color is B dominant, and then the chestnut color is little b, and the pacing gait is little t, and the trotting gait is big T. So a homozygous, homozygous chestnut color and trotting gait with a horse that's homozygous for black coat color and pacing gait. So that means one is going to be little b, big T, and the other one's going to be big B, little t. And
so she got the homozygous for chestnut color. You go back here, chestnut color is little b and it's homozygous. So that's how she got little b, and trotting gait. You go back here, big T is trotting gait. That's also homozygous. So you get big T. Same thing for this one, homozygous for black coat. The letter for black coat is big B and it's homozygous. So you write it twice. And then pacing gait, the letter for that is little t, also homozygous. So you write it twice. Now you do the FOIL on this.
got little b, big T. Oh wait, did I do that right? Yeah, right. And then little b, big T, little b, big T, little b, big T, and big B, little t.
So,
Big
and
B.
you got little big B, little
Little
t.
t, yeah.
This is your Hadai hybrid. It's gonna be 16 squares, but you already know these are all the same and these are all the same. So if you just do one, maybe just do first one, you say it's big B, big T, little t. It's all going to be that for all 16 boxes. So if I were to ask the genotype, that's gonna be big B, big T, little t for 100%. So I don't even need to fill that out because this is exactly same for each one of these boxes, and same thing here. So this is what you're gonna get. Doesn't matter which box you do. And then your ending result is this 100% big B, big T, little t. And then what is the phenotype?
Black coat, trotting gait.
So big B stands for black coat, and that's dominant. And big T stands for trotting gait, that's dominant, and that's 100%. It says that F1 of 14 was allowed to interbreed. This is your F1. Whatever you get here is your F1. So this is your F1. So now you're taking big B, big T, little t, and crossing it with each other because that's your F1. Now do the FOIL on this. Did you do it, Frene?
I started to, but I didn't finish it.
Okay. So help me out, guys.
I got
I'm gonna do a FOIL on this and FOIL on this.
so
Actually,
big,
you're only gonna do one because they're the same.
yeah. So I got big B, big T, big B, little t, big T, little b, little t.
Big B, big
Oh.
T first. Outer big B, little t, inner little b, big T, and last little b, little t. Little t. And then you write the same thing on this side. Actually, this is little t, little b, big T, little b, little t. And then you do the cross. Did you finish doing the cross?
Yeah,
What ratio did you get?
I didn't count it out yet.
Okay. Do you guys remember what I told you guys in lecture for the heterozygous? Whenever you have heterozygous, hetero means it's going to be one big, one small letter. What is the ratio that you're going to get? 9331. So you should have gotten 93. If you're interested, you guys can go ahead and finish the cross. I'm not going to finish it, but I'm going to give you the genotypes. So the ratio that you should be getting is 9331. I don't know which one is 9 black coat or chestnut color coat. You're going to have to look at the letters for that. But this is the ratio that you're going to get for this one. For next question, it says select any 2 of the genotypes. Once you fill this box out, you can pick any 2 and you can cross them and you can try to read the box then, which depending on what ratio you get. So you can do that on your own. So I'm not gonna finish this question, but if there are any questions on any about any questions at all for this worksheet, you can ask them now. Does this make sense? So you guys are feeling a little bit better about Punnett squares? Yes, Nancy. Oh, okay, that's fine. So the quiz is open. Before I let you guys go for today, I want to know if you guys understand what gametes are. Gametes, possible gametes. Yes, Oscar is saying yes. Robert? So in the beginning of this worksheet, there were some definitions. Genotype. Anytime it says genotype, it's talking about the letters you have. And then it says phenotype, what those letters stand for. Tall, short, yellow, green, whatever. And then you have the gametes. Gametes are eggs and sperm or haploid, so different possibilities. So whatever letters or whatever genotype you have, if you have genotype that's big A, the gamete for this is only big A. The only possibility that can get passed on is big A. There's no little a. So you're gonna say the possible gametes for this is big A. If you have little a, the possible gametes are little a. If you have big A, little a, what are the possible gametes now?
Big A and little a.
Big A and little a. There can be a sperm with little a, and there can be a sperm with big A. So these are the gametes, possible gametes. But if it's the same one, the only possibility is this. For this one, they're homozygous, the only possibility is this. So I think you guys be okay for the quiz. You can go ahead and take it before midnight, so do that. And the second quiz is also monohybrid. When you do the quiz, make sure you read the question very carefully, and probably it's not going to ask you to do Punnett squares for all the questions. Just make sure before you do the Punnett square, you make sure that you really need to do a Punnett square. Sometimes it doesn't require you to do the Punnett square. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you guys are feeling a little bit better about this. I will see you guys Tuesday next week. Today is Thursday. And if you guys still have questions about any of the topics, you can stay back and ask, or you can come to Wednesday evening tutoring session before the exam, and I might do a review if I don't get any students. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.